Hi everyone. This video will talk about how to use the horizontal layout tool and also the vertical layout tool. Before you watch this, you should already have watched the place image script video and fully understand how that works, because the horizontal layout tool and the vertical layout tool are basically building upon that script. So let's talk about how the horizontal layout tool and the vertical layout tool works. We're going to go to Bridge here, and we're going to say, well, let's say we're designing a layout for this model and we wanted to do 2 rows of 3 images each. So let's just say a 2 by 3 row of images. Okay, so we say, okay, let's go back to Photoshop and say, okay, we want within this selection we want to have 2 rows with each row having 3 images each. Okay, so we're gonna go and run the horizontal layout tool. Okay, click it, and so it prompts you, how many layout rows do you want to make? And we say 2 rows, and then here's the spacing factor that determines the spacing between the photos. So you notice it only asks for how many rows you want to make. It doesn't ask how many photos are in each of those rows. The reason is because it's going to prompt you again for every single row it creates. It's going to prompt you for the photos. Okay, so I click submit, and you notice immediately it pops up a window for asking you for images. So the first window is for the first row. Okay, so now we go back to Bridge and we say, okay, well, let's select these 3 images. Okay, you can select as many images as you need. You don't need to tell it how many images to use, because all it's going to do is to bring it in just like the place script. Okay, so we select 3, we hit Bridge, and automatically for the original marquee selection, it will then separate your original selection into 2 rows, and then within each row it just prompted you for those photos, and now we're bringing in those 3 photos that we selected. Okay, then after that's done, now it prompts you again, and this is obviously for the second row. So for the second row, we're going to do something different. Just like the place image script, we're going to create a horizontal, we're going to place in a horizontal image along with 2 vertical images. Okay, we'll place these 3 images, come back here, hit Bridge. And just like before, we were explaining about how you can change the transform control tool along the way. You can then change this here to a bit wider, because we know that a horizontal image is coming in, and then it will automatically resize the next 2 image shapes into smaller shapes. So you can see here in less than a minute we are able to create a layout that looks interesting, that is completely aligned, and that's very easy to use to create a horizontal layout. So this works the same way with the vertical tools. You notice how in the horizontal layout tools we operate in terms of rows, how many rows to create, and then it will prompt you for the photos to go into those rows. Well, in the vertical tool, the thinking switches to vertical. It will ask you how many columns you want to create, and then for each column it will prompt you for the photos, and it will just go from top to bottom and to process each of those photos. That's pretty much the gist of the vertical and horizontal layout. As you can see, really, whatever we learned in the original place image scripts, you can apply to this script. So after you've sort of mastered the place image script, this becomes really easy, because really it's just dividing up into separate rows or columns and applying the place scripts to each of those rows and columns. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email us. Okay.